Hey everybody out there, welcome back to Deep Dive of 5. Back to the box edition. Last time I went through a bag of CDs that came out of my old car, when I was listening to a lot of CDs in there. And I just went back to the box. The box in the wardrobe. One of a few. And I just grabbed 5 CDs out of that. And we'll go through them. Yeah. Sorry I didn't upload last week. The worst has happened, I'm afraid. I have a job. And I started that last week. So, yeah, here we are. A week late, dollar short, all that stuff. Mm-mm. Coffee, my one pleasure in life. Yay. All right, 5 CDs. Had a bit of just kind of just bleh, 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 times 5. And let's have a look. Let's see what we got today. All right, first up from 1990. God, I can't even read that. 1995. There it is, somewhere there. Oh, 1993. Yeah, I thought 1995 was a bit early. Prong, Cleansing. Prong are one of those bands that weren't as big as they could have been. They're still around. Tommy Victor, still going hard. Started in 1986. Since from 93. It's kind of, I think it's their major label debut. Had a couple of big-ish songs off it. Snap Your Fingers, Snap Your Neck, Broken Piece. Another Whirly Device, Whose Fist Is This Anyway? You know, a few songs that kind of piqued my interest back in the 90s. I don't think I've listened to any other Prong album. I liked this one. I liked it. I liked a few specific songs on it. I don't know if I was really a huge fan of the album in general. Not enough for me to keep up with them, because they've got like 13, 14 albums. Something like that. But I've always had a copy of this one. Floating around. Very minimal on the old materials. And the cover. Cool album. Catchy kind of groove industrial metal for back then. There's a couple of X or 1X Killing Joke person on this. I haven't listened to this in ages, man. I think I'll probably chuck this on this afternoon in the old CD player that is kind of skipping every now and again. But yeah, I think I encountered these guys. I think it was from a soundtrack, or Whose Fist Is This Anyway was on rotation or something back in the 90s in New Zealand. I did pick up the album eventually. It's got some good tracks on it. I'll listen to this afternoon, I think. Yeah, Prong. Let me know if you like Prong. Let me know if you're still keeping up with Prong. Let me know if you've seen them live. I don't think I've ever seen them live. From 2000, At the Drive-In, Relationship of Command. Probably one of the defining releases in the post-punk hardcore genre, if you want to pigeonhole it to certain genres. It was the last album before Inter Alia. When was that? 2014, 2015. A notoriously volatile band made up of a bunch of big personalities, let's just say. Dude, this album rocks. It still rocks. I think it will forever rock. I remember first hearing them. I was driving around Hamilton in New Zealand. I was at university. It was the year 2000. I was driving around in my old burnt orange Datsun 120Y sedan, 3-stage auto, had rear wheel drive, so it was good for handbrakes. And this came on, One Arm Scissor came on the university radio station, UFM. And I was like, whoa, what's this? And I've been a fan ever since. Fan of this album anyway. I despite my love of this album and the Mars Volta. I never really dipped into their back catalogue that much. I remember I kind of touched on Inter Alia back in the day when I was DJing on a radio station, and I'd play a few songs off there. But this is the one that kind of, cemented itself in my kind of personal history anyway. And I got the CD. I'm not sure if it was this exact CD, but I got the CD, and I think I dubbed it to tape because I only had a tape player in my car. And I put it in the tape, and boom, yeah, one of my favorite driving albums from back in the day. Great album, man, great album. So you've got Pattern Against User, which is just frantic. Such a good song. Invalid Litter Department. I didn't see the video for Invalid Litter Department until much, much, much later, probably like late 2000 into the 2010s, and I didn't see the video until then, and it was just like, wow, because that was my favorite song too, because it's this like kind of weird experimentally kind of song, and then just launches into that last minute or two at the end of it. Intense, man. And the video was all about the trafficking and murder of women in the U.S.-Mexico border states, specifically around one town. And I was just like, wow, that video is pretty powerful. And the song itself is really powerful. Iggy Pop pops up on here. He's on Rolodex Propaganda. And one other song, I think. And yeah, just a great album. Great album. Of course, at the drive-in went on to form, members of went on to form the Mars Volta and Sparta. Sparta's another band I never really, I'm not throwing shade on Sparta, but I was just like, I never tapped into Sparta. But yeah, maybe I should. I'm pretty sure I've got a Sparta album somewhere. Top album, one of the great albums, I think. One of the great rock albums, for sure. I was listening to this before. I've been a fan of these guys since back in the day, since the first album. I got the second album, but I never really, it didn't hit me the same way as the first album did. And the subsequent albums I never really got into. But this is awesome. A Perfect Circle, Murder Noms. From the year 2000. Yeah. Tool, Maynard from Tool, Billy Howardell, who was a guitar tech and composer, and yeah, Tim Alexander from Primus on drums, Paz, I'm not going to attempt her last name right now, a little bit, but on bass and violin. This is a great album, a fantastic melding of kind of prog, hard rock, not Tool-y at all, despite Maynard. And this was just before Lateralis, I think. When did that come out? 2001? So this is 2000s. It's still got some very impressive songs on it. Like, none of them are too long. They're not too complex. It's very very structured. And you got some top songs on here. You got Magdalena. You got Three Libras, which I love. I learned to play Three Libras on guitar in 2001, I think, by then. And it's just like, yeah, lovely song. Lovely. If you're a beginner guitar player, Three Libras is a great song. Sleeping Beauty, Thinking of You, and Brenya. I love Brenya. I think Brenya is my favorite track off this album. What's yours? Let me know. All of my non-viewers. If you are watching, I love you. All right, one of my favorite Neil Young if you're a Neil Young fan, there's probably only one compilation that you really worry about, and it is this. It is Decade. Released in 1977. Covers his decade. From 1966-67 to 1977, and most of the albums in that oeuvre. So it's 2 discs, jam-packed, man, jam-packed. This is one of my favorite driving CDs of all time, my favorite Neil Young compilation of all time. How could it not be? It's got some classics, dude, classics. It's got Down to the Wire, Broken Arrow, which Broken Arrow is such a cool song, such a great driving song. It just kind of it's like 4 minutes or so, 4 or 5 minutes, and it's like a mini epic. I love Broken Arrow. Sugar Mountain, The Loner. Down by the River. There's a live version of, I think it's a live version of Cowgirl in the Sand, which is just like, oh, mwah. And one of my favorite driving songs of all time is Cortez the Killer. I remember I had this CD in my work van. I was working for a company that shall go unnamed, and I had a van. I was a man with a van, and I had driven up to the Blue Mountains. I was living in Sydney. I drove up to the Blue Mountains to visit an ex-girlfriend to get high, and hopefully, well, none of the happened, but I got high. And I was there I hung out with her for I think a night and a couple of days. We didn't do anything. It was very weird. One of those weird weekends. Yeah, it was just weird. And it was Sunday night. It was late, and I was just like, I gotta go to work on Monday. Just better go back to the city. And I remember I left. It was like 8 o'clock, not 8:30 at night, and it was kind of cold, and there was no one around. And I chucked this album on, and I listened to Cortez the Killer, which is no short song. I listened to Cortez the Killer at least 4 times back to back. Just like as soon as I started back, because I was driving through the mountains, it was quiet. From like Blackheath, so it's like an hour and a half to the city. And I listened to Cortez the Killer at least 4 times back to back, probably 5, before letting it go back on to the rest of the songs. And yeah, that's burned up here, man. Burned as a scar. But yeah, fantastic album. If you haven't got this, it's a great entry point into Neil Young's stuff as well. His greatest hits album is good, but I think Decade is far superior. I think this is the quintessential, at least early-ish Neil Young, before his 80s kind of experiments, and then his 90s kind of resurgence, and then more experiments, and then resurgence, and more experiments. Kidding, I love Neil Young. I love you, sir. You're a very talented man, and you've done some great stuff. And Decade is easily in my top 20. Last but by no means least today on Deep Dive of 5, Joy Division, Substance. This is the 1998 compilation that covers Joy Division from 1977 to 1980. It says so on the cover there. And man, what can you say about Joy Division that hasn't already been said? This is a great compilation. They only released a few albums, so don't feel like you're breaking the bank by going out and buying all the stuff they've done. But this is a great entry point to Joy Division. Great compilation to have on hand if you just want to chuck some Joy Division on. It's got some classics, man. Got my favorite Joy Division song, Digital. The last track that Ian Curtis played live. I love that song. Love Will Tear Us Apart, of course. Leaders of Men. She's Lost Control. I think there's a couple of live tracks on here as well. But yeah, fantastic. A band not cut short, but a band out of time. I think Joy Division. And of course, Ian Curtis, one of the great tragic figures of rock and or roll, killed him unalived himself when he was 23, and there by that standard became immortal. There's been movies about him, books, an amazing talent, and gone far too soon, of course. But yeah, Joy Division, they of course the remaining members became New Order, a band I've not given a lot of time to. I appreciate them, but they're good in their own right. But Joy Division was like another standard. To say that they were a new wave post-punk band just kind of doesn't do them justice. They were something else. And right on the eve of their American tour, Ian Curtis decided to put an end to it all in regards to Joy Division. But yeah, fantastic compilation. If you see it around and you're a Joy Division fan and you don't have it, it's great. If you see it in the op shops or wherever for a couple of bucks, dude, it is like that's the best deal you're going to get that day. It's a fantastic album. Great album. I'm going to listen to that this afternoon too. So I'm going to play Prong and Joy Division. I think I'll start with Joy Division just because I'm a little bit depressed and it will probably help me be more depressed. Your thought for the week. I tend to wear the same kind of clothes a lot, and I was thinking on my walk this morning, how come when like a rich, successful person wears the same clothes every day, it's a sign of genius, but when you're poor, it's a indicator for depression. I don't know. That's just my thought. My thought for the day. I'll see you guys, girls, cats, whatever. I don't mind as long as you're not hurting other people. Whatever you want to be called. I'll see you all next time.